Welcome back to D1 students. We are learning about one-point perspective. This is the part 3 video, and our goal is to create transparent blocks and to learn how to stack them to make more interesting things. If you haven't already gathered from our discussion so far, in the end of this unit you'll be given a lot of freedom on what the imagery could be. So our picture today isn't necessarily going to be a picture of any particular thing because your design might be abstract using two-point perspective, which is really great forms and designs with whatever coloring treatment you choose to do in colored pencil. Your picture may also be representational and show a particular place, whether it's realistic or fantasy. Maybe it's modern and technological, maybe it's old-fashioned and country. None of that is going to matter. What's going to matter is it in one-point perspective and is it correct technically? So whatever the subject matter may be, these skills today should help get you to that next level. So first step we're going to do is create a horizon line on our fresh piece of paper. If you want to fold your paper because the ruler doesn't make it all the way across, that's fine. Or if you can just trust me on this, it really isn't going to matter if it's a perfectly straight line, but I do want you to go ahead and create your most horizontal straight line you can. I'm going to start over here using my ruler against the side of my page. Try to make it nice and even. I'm somewhat in the middle of the paper, maybe a little higher, a little low. It's okay if it's a little off, guys. And then just finish that out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stay with standard view and put my vanishing point right in the middle for now. And we're going to move on to our very first transparent form. So we know kind of the steps by now. We've been practicing. We know that we need to start with the front flat side of the block, right, the form. So that requires horizontals and verticals. We use the ruler against the side of our page to get horizontals. And we use the ruler against the bottom of our page to get our verticals. This is all review so far. Thinking I want that to be a little bigger. Yeah. All right, so I've got sort of a rectangle going. And of course I want you to follow along with me in that concept. Now it's time to give it some depth. So I'm going to take it to the vanishing point from the 3 corners that I can see. Now I don't plan to keep this entire thing, so I'm not going to go all the way to the vanishing point. I'm just going to give myself a little bit of space. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop the form. It needs to end. It just kind of, it's open right now. It doesn't even go on forever. So chop the form by adding what's in the front to the back. So between these 2 converging lines is a vertical in the front, so that's exactly what I'll use in the back. Lining my ruler up with the bottom of my page. Get a vertical here. And then if I line it up with the side of my page, I can take that horizontal and place it in the back. So the side is even, giving me a horizontal. All right, got a nice little box. This is, of course, what we already know how to do. What I would like you to consider doing next is another box. This time we're going to place it facing forward towards us in a crossbeam type of direction. And we're going to let it overhang the 2 sides. We're still going to start with the front flat side of the form. Horizontal. It's overhanging here and here. Vertical. The height is up to us. I'm going to go this high. Finish that part with the horizontal. There you go. That's the front flat side of the new form. And I'm going to stack it on top of that one. I'm going to add depth to it. Now this could be as deep as we want it to be. It could go to where it hangs off the back of the form. It just depends what you're building, right? I'm going to try to go with matching the length of the form. So the one on the bottom only goes to here, so I'm going on with something like that. Match the side with your ruler and connect across horizontally so that the back matches the front. Now I'm going to do this last missing side piece. So to the vanishing point and straight down. Of course, it would go all the way if I connected it, but I don't want to have to erase, so I'm going to stop short. Now I'm using the bottom of my page and my ruler to create that last little vertical cut. All right, so what's going on here is I have one form stacked on top of another. What this could represent is really up to you. If you don't want to see through your forms, you don't have to keep every part of them. But sometimes that's cool too. Some people want to see all the transparency. It's part of their design. If that's the case, you can go through and finish out any corners that you haven't already done, seeing how they finally connect. Just follow the patterns you've been using all along. And the only trouble with that for a beginner is it can get visually overstimulating. Like it can get a little bit busy and a little too hard to look at and understand. But transparent forms are really fun. They can become like glass building blocks, and you can start imagining them in all different ways. So as I turn this, it's starting to remind me of cool modern architecture, or I don't know, so many number of things. All right, if you were wanting to do just like block lettering, the letter T, I'm going to get away from this so I can go a little faster. I do not recommend that you do your work without a tool because yours is for a grade, but if I wanted to do the letter T again and maybe do it more like the way you would with an actual letter so the dimensions made more sense, what I might do is build the front side all as one piece. So cross beam and center up the bottom how I wanted it. And then I would converge those corners that I can see back to the vanishing point, not bothering with anything transparent necessarily. I know this is not going to be perfect, guys, because it's just freehanded, but I think you can get the idea. All right, and then I just have to be consistent with the depth of it. If I choose to chop it here, for instance, matching it to the front of the form like that. Then I need to follow that down vertically. And then that same depth that I have right here, I need to go ahead and use here so that it matches. All right, and then if it's solid, I'm just going to keep the parts that are on the outside and not keep the parts that I shouldn't see. So I can erase away any connectors or any process pieces afterward. And there's my solid block letter. If you want to do a row of letters, of course, you could turn them facing the other way. So let me show you that variation. I'm going to start with 2 converging lines this time. And the side that was facing me before, I'm actually going to face that sideways on purpose. So I've got vertical, 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 vertical. And then to finish this part of the T up here, I'm going to use that vanishing point so that it runs almost parallel to the top one. So that connects all the way through. And then that's still just flat as paper, right? It's coming at us, that's cool, but it doesn't have a lot of depth to it. So now it's time to finish up the horizontal side of it. So this is where you would be using the side of your paper. I'll use this side over here. Lining it up here, telling you that you have a horizontal. Every corner has a horizontal coming out of it. All right, repeat that vertical here. What do you guys think goes here? Might be a little tricky. I forgot this horizontal, that's part of it. Gotta check those interior corners that poke inward because they kind of get ignored and forgotten. Yeah, so basically I know that I'm gonna have a vertical here, but I need to follow the path of it, otherwise I might make it too skinny and then it doesn't make sense. So since I left off here, I gotta follow the path to here, and that means this one needs to be directed to the vanishing point. It's a little wonky because I freehanded some, but you get the idea. And then I'm just going to follow that straight down like this guy. And then finally, last but not least, this one should finish out at that same angle. And there is my T up in the air. So if you've ever heard of the game Tetris, you can imagine all different forms and different combinations. We just want to basically play that game here. We want to play around with how can I lift and rotate these maybe two-part forms. We don't want to overdo it and make it too complicated right away. Okay, so play around variations of this. Can you do the letter L, or I would stay away from letters that have angles in them because we haven't discussed that yet, so I wouldn't do like the letter N right now. I'll help you with that later. No like Z's or M's or anything. Instead, things like F. They're made of verticals and horizontals. Of course, I mentioned L, and something like H, still made of horizontals and verticals. Those are things that we can do with the same skill set. So just to prove one more to you and one more variation, here is the letter H. Super fast, not going to be perfect. Okay, that side is facing inward. All right, and then horizontally, I'm going to go this way. Vertical, horizontal. Okay. Horizontal from here. Ooh, something went wrong here. I think that's just from freehanding it. Ooh, so like I said, use your tool or weird stuff starts happening. Anyway, you get the idea. There's just one more variation for you to see before my time runs out. Okay, guys, so play around with it. Have fun. Turn your stuff different directions. See what you can do by stacking two forms. When it needs to be transparent to figure out where things line up, don't hesitate to do that because that will only help deepen your understanding of 1 point perspective. Good luck, guys. Take a photo of your work. Don't forget to send it.